Right. Here. Right. Okay. Just getting set up here for a sec. Right. Okay. Back with another Raiders season preview. I suppose I couldn't stay away. I haven't been doing a lot of videos for the Raiders lately. I've been doing lots of other stuff, a lot of NFL season preview stuff. So that's been real fun. But I miss talking about my Raiders, man. I do. I miss talking about them. They probably the most hype I've seen for the Raiders since 2017, which that's kind of scary. It's kind of scary when you think about that. But star power, right? I mean, there's some star power on here. There's some top-notch talent. When Matt hops on with me, we're going to talk about maybe why the depth might not be what it should be, and what went into that. What ended up over the last 4 years? Why maybe you don't, you have so many undrafted free agents make your team? Maybe because you just didn't have the top end talent, or at least the how do I want to say this? The top end talent, or at least the mid round, second round, even first round picks that stay with your roster, right? And that can be a little scary, right? That could be a little scary when you have guys like Masterson making your team, guys like Jesper Horsted, right? All these other guys making your team. It can be a little scary. Even though you root for these guys in the preseason. Sorry if you can hear my fan in the background. It's literally 108 degrees right now, so I don't have air conditioning. Some might call that playing through injury. I don't want to brag. I don't want to brag about my toughness. I am playing through injury though. 108-degree heat, adverse conditions. Yeah, man, I missed it though. I missed. I really missed. Oh, 1 second here. Hold on. But yeah, I miss talking about my Raiders, man. Dave Ziegler looking like a really like Clint Eastwood level, man with no name, just like, hey, get out of here. First round pick from last year. You're toast. See you later, man. I love that. I mean, I don't love that that's what happened, but I love cutting ties with shit that sucks on your team, right? And it's interesting. People like to say, well, what about the offensive line this year? And I have to ask them, is it worse than last year? Is it worse? Because they're a playoff team with the season from hell off the field, but it's not worse. I don't think it's worse. In fact, I think there's a case to be made that maybe it's even better than some might think. That's just my opinion on that. I'm not sure as far as how what they're going to want to do offensively. Are they going to want Derek Carr to hold on to the ball more because of these big time threats, or are they going to want these guys to get open early, run after the catch, which is probably the side I'd err on, right? Given what Derek Carr is. He's a good deep ball thrower, but I like when he's just quick whipping it over the middle field, 5-yard pass, 15-yard pass, 8-yard pass, quick first, second read, I that's when I like the Raiders. I think when the Raiders get cute and they try to take a lot of deep shots and Carr's not really quite able to buy time with his legs, that's when I get a little nervous, and I hope that's not what they try to do, just because they have guys like Devontae Adams. Um, you know, but then you could use the beauty of having someone like Devontae Adams, you could use him at any part of the field. You could use him on little hitch routes. You could run slants with him. I mean, he's so good at creating separation, so good at winning in his first couple steps of his route, in and out of his breaks. I don't think there's anybody better in the game in his hands. I know he had some drops, but I'm sorry, for the most part, when you throw the ball up, he goes and gets it. And I think even as Raider fans, like, we tend to like look at all the other stuff and that's going on around the team, like, what are we going to do at corner, what are we going to do at linebacker seems a little weird sometimes, defensive tackle. Yeah, I mean, you put this team under a microscope, you'll find some flaws, especially in the division that they're in, and there are teams with deeper rosters, but Carr to Adams, I think, is Stafford and Cup level good, in my opinion. Is Josh McDaniel Sean McVay? I think we're going to find out. We don't have Aaron Donald on defense. I mean, I'm not saying the Raiders are the Rams from last year. So Rams had some just blue chips on defense, blue chip players. It's they kind of did the opposite method of what the Raiders did, right? Instead of trading their stars for picks, they traded their picks for stars, which the Raiders just started doing right now with Devontae Adams. But I like to think that you'll have that connection and what Adams not only does for the Raiders offense and his quarterback, but just the players around Hunter Renfrow. People say don't draft Hunter Renfrow in fantasy this year because Adams is there, and I completely disagree. I think Adams is going to be, for a long time, the focal point of a lot of the defense. I think people are just going to say, hey, I won't be beat by this guy. I will not be beat by Devontae Adams, right? We're going to watch San Francisco 49ers against Packers tape last year. How did they do it? That's what they're going to copy. Now, the Packers didn't have Darren Waller. They didn't have Hunter Renfrow. They had Randall Cobb, and couldn't even tell you their tight end, to be honest. Was it Lance Kendrick? I don't even remember who it was. It was somebody at tight end it's not Darren Waller. So, while Aaron Rodgers is definitely a better quarterback than Derek Carr, we're talking about one of the top 5 quarterbacks ever to play, probably. I think just the construct of this offense and making Renfrow your second or third option on this team, depending on the game plan. I think that can probably make guys like Renfrow more efficient, less volume, but more bang for your buck when you throw to him. I think he's not going to have guys swarming around him. I think everybody's going to flock to 17 and 83 because those are the guys. Those are the guys that you have to stop when you play the Raiders. Then the run game, right? I think the run game is really good. Like, I think the run game is going to be back. I didn't really like the way they ran the ball last year. I didn't think they got a lot of push up the middle. I think this year that'll change. I think that just this Pats run scheme is going to fit guys like John Simpson a little bit better. I think that even though I'm not an Andre James fan, I think Andre James or Dylan Parham at center could actually, open up, just be better than what Andre James was last year, I should say. I mean, even if that makes any sense, year 2 Andre James is probably better than last year, first year as a starter, Andre James, in the run game. And I mean, I actually like Illuminor at right tackle. I think that's an improvement over Leatherwood. So, it's tough for me to find a place where they're worse than last year, and they were a 10-win team. And let's say that maybe 1 or 2 of those wins were wins that they kind of snuck away. People forget about the Miami game last year, right? Like, the Miami game was like such a weird, crazy, like the Raiders blew that game. Jacoby Brissett's in, these games like that, maybe that Cleveland game, like there's some games that maybe they shouldn't have won, and they were down the wire with almost every win that they had. So I could see why maybe some people think that 10 wins was not exactly the talent level that they had last year. And I actually agree. I actually think it's been crazy that with all the poor draft picks they've done in the last couple of years, that the Raiders haven't had a losing season since they've been in Vegas. That's 3 years now. Feels like yesterday that they moved, but it's true. They haven't had a losing season in Vegas. And what team do you know can put just basically punt on six first round picks? Because I don't even consider Jacobs really a smart use of draft capital. All in all, I mean, neither do McDaniels because they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. So for that reason, because it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it nowadays economically to draft running backs in the first round. It just doesn't make sense. These guys' second contracts are never what they should be. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think the view of the Raiders is that they're either going to win the division or they're going to be in last. That's kind of the talking heads version of what the Raiders are viewed as in the media. And I get that you have to kind of be, the Raiders are one of those teams where either you are disgusted by them or you secretly think they're super genius and just one player away. If you watch Good Morning NFL or whatever, Good Morning Football, all those guys on there, they love the Raiders. All they do is pump up the Raiders, years and years and years of that. And but then you'll watch other, listen to PFF, you'll listen to the Ringer, and a lot of those guys will be like, nah, man, they're under the 8.5 win total this year, and they're always low on the Raiders. For me, I still think they're a wild card team. Oh, here comes Matt. So I'm gonna let him. I had the stage to myself there to get some takes off. Here comes Matt. What's up, dude? Hey, man.
How's it going?
Oh, dude. Fucking 108 degrees in my house, dude. Fucking beautiful. No AC.
Where are you at again?
San Jose.
Yeah, I was looking actually yesterday. I was like, I can't believe it's like 105 there.
Yeah, and then they were like, it's gonna be a cooler day tomorrow. Hit 110 today. It was beautiful.
Dude, we're at 116.
Yeah, I mean, Sac's fucking brutal, dude. Yeah, you probably got some nice AC in that house, so I could just tell. You got some AC up there. Oh,
not enough.
No, is it ever? But okay, well, we have a lot to discuss here. Much to discuss. I've had these Raider thoughts in my head for quite some time. So where should we start here? Where should we start? Okay, how about this? The Raiders have Devontae Adams right now. That's kind of the thing. It's Carr and Adams is what's going to take them to the top this year, right? I mean, it has to be. It has to be. If that doesn't work, then we're screwed, right?
Right. I think, you have that. You have the pass rush, obviously, that's probably top 5 in the league, minus the interior. But I would assume that Jones and Crosby are going to do well. Mm-hmm. So pass rush and weapons. But then again, the Achilles heel is that offensive line.
Yeah.
It seems like, but I'm not as nervous about the offensive line as everybody else. I'll tell you why in a little bit.
I agree.
There's reasons for it. I think that, Brady, McDaniels have always schemed around deficiencies in the offense. I don't see that being any different now. It's kind of a John Gruden thing where you're worried about like the Achilles heel. Most good teams don't have like an Achilles heel, like they figure it out and they scheme around it. So keeping 5 running backs, keeping 3 tight ends, a blocking tight end, things like that. Like they're going to scheme, that way. I think, it's nice to see them, not sit on Leatherwood for a whole season. And
oh man,
but we already know how we felt about that on day one. I spent a few months trying to justify myself. And
one of the best videos ever made, man. That was so funny. Just that day. Here's the thing. I think what a lot of people struggle with are cutting Leatherwood is the perfect subject matter for this. Is that's good process by Ziegler to correct bad process from the previous regime, right? Like it does. Leatherwood's awful pick. I mean, we've already come to that, but like the offensive line is better this year without him. Truly, like he will be replaced by somebody better. Jermaine Illuminor is better than him at right tackle. Like we know this. I mean,
it's probably not close. You got a seventh round rookie at Ohio State that's better too.
Yeah, and that's the one where I'm kind of like, okay, let's watch this guy play. You know, Thayer Mumford. I'm not necessarily wanting to see him play right away. I'm glad Illuminor's here. I'm trying to look at a position, especially on offense. Where did they get worse? Any problem that you point out this year was there last year with no weapons, with guys that couldn't separate, so you couldn't get rid of the ball as fast.
Well, I saw that somebody was talking about, you know, the Raiders didn't significantly improve in the off season. You know, everybody's now all of a sudden Adams is the 5th best wide receiver in football.
Oh yeah.
Chandler Jones is washed up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, coming off of an 11 sack season after tearing his ACL. So I think one thing is people are kind of sleeping on the low key moves that they made. You know, the Nichols, you know, Harmon in the safety position. He's going to be your Dallin Levitt of last year, where he's going to get, you know, a significant amount of snaps. You know, they're sleeping on Anthony Averett. Those are all like moves that they made that didn't cost them a lot of money. Right. Offensively, you know, not only did they add Adams, not only did they add, you know, Zeus White as a backup running back, which, you know, backup running back has been a problem for them for the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. They signed Kenyon Drake to that huge deal, which I didn't mind, but he got hurt. So there's, you know, that's been a problem. They have depth there. They have, you know, not only did they added more speed, you know, they have Tyron Johnson, Mac Hollins, DJ Turner. Those are all speed guys. They didn't have that last year after Ruggs got arrested, you know. But so you add your 1 through 5 receiving core can all separate. So it's a little different than last year. You get Waller back healthy. So, I mean, I don't see why this team should score 27, 28 points a game.
Yeah.
You know, on bad days. So
I agree with literally everything you just said. Highlighting a couple things. Tyron Johnson, I actually think is going to be one of those guys that like people after 3 weeks are going to be non-Raider fans are going to be grabbing him in fantasy because he's going to have like a couple huge touchdowns early. Like I think he's gonna like just smoke the defense. One like just blown coverage. People forgot about Tyron Johnson.
He's gonna have that Demarcus Robinson game against the Raiders where he had like 4 catches for 212 and 2 touchdowns. Like, you know, and then he won't score for the rest of the year. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So here's my reservation with the Raiders, because even on defense, I think they've done nothing but improve too. I think, again, interior was a problem last year. It's a problem this year, probably. But I think my problem, and you can watch the Chargers game last year, which everybody has a good memory of, but there was probably about 20 minutes of that Charger game, even 30 minutes of that Charger game where I wanted to legit end it all. I was like, when they were letting Herbert just carve him up in that fucking soft cover 3 that they were playing. You're playing the soft cover. There's no soft cover 3.
Yeah.
There's no soft cover 3 anymore. You're going to have, I think there's going to be, okay, Gus Bradley did a good job last year of limiting the over your head big plays. It's true. That didn't happen a lot last year. And that was the thing that killed them. I think they're going to give up more big plays this year, but I also think they're going to get more turnovers. I think they're going to be like that kind of Green Bay Packers championship style defense where they're just like a lot of pick sixes, but a lot of big plays too. Cause I think they're going to play a lot more press. I think they're going to live and die by how athletic and speedy they are on defense, because they are faster, and they fly to the ball quicker. So
yeah, I mean, I think like one thing about it too is like, can we get a blitz every once in a while?
Well, it looks like that's Abrams' job, literally, too. You know what I mean? Is like going to be blitzing, which that's good. That's good to me. That's the only chance he has to ever have an NFL career, in my opinion, is to just run like fucking Tasmanian devil off the edge. Like the only chance he has. Now, my big problem with this roster is not anything that Dave Ziegler did this year. It's the fact that you looked at how many UDFAs made this team. Now, some people might spin that and say, Dave Ziegler's a genius. He found all these great UDFAs. No, the fact that there were this many opportunities for UDFAs to make their team shows how bad the previous regime was. Unfortunately, we are still stuck with how bad the previous regime was in this first year. Right? Like we are still stuck with that. You are still stuck with holes in your roster because you didn't draft guys like Jeffrey Simmons instead of Jonathan Abram, because you didn't, you know, there are these things that you have to fill with UDFAs that's my biggest issue with the Raiders, is that back end, those back ends of positions that should be your like second or third round guys that you that third round where there was Muse, Bowden, and Edwards, like one of those guys should still be on the team playing, being productive, at least one. And it wasn't. And I hate to keep harping on it.
Round pick.
Yeah. We don't have any of those guys.
So yeah, I mean, like they've had like I read something that they had like, I think it was like 25 top 100 picks in Gruden's tenure, and like 3 of them are still on the team or something. Like I can't remember the exact number, but it's baffling. And I think your point's correct, but I also there's a positive note to that too, where they cut guys like Keelan Cole,
right?
They cut guys like the linebacker Kenny Young. They cut guys like Masterson made it over Kenny Young. They cut guys that Darius Phillips, and they kept Sam Webb. So what that to me means is it's an open competition.
True.
It doesn't matter where you were drafted, which is a positive for me. But I agree with you. There should not be a roster battle between Darius Phillips and Sam Webb.
Yeah.
That's but my light just turned. My power might have went out.
Oh fuck.
Hang on 1 second.
Yeah, I'll take the deal. Yeah.
One sec.
Yeah, completely. No, I completely agree. The point that you were saying, it's hot in California, guys. If you're not in California right now, it's fucking hot, and our power is I'm still waiting to lose mine. I've had my computer on the charger all day. I got to record some more shit later, so hopefully that doesn't go out. But no, the the UDFAs.
I'll be back. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I got you. I'll take it. The UDFAs, it is something to be said that like maybe Ziegler is good at finding undrafted free agents, right? Maybe Darian Butler and Masterson are actually good linebackers, can at least be good special teams, come in a pinch, play some coverage, play in those kind of like super pass heavy sets on defense where you have to account for 4 receivers, and stuff. Maybe that's the case. Maybe they're just in this transitory phase between Patrick Graham's scheme and Gus Bradley's scheme, where you are trying to basically, you can't fill every hole. You can't put every new scheme job opportunity. You can't fill that with a good player in the first year. I was just trying to highlight that, there were just so many missed opportunities to even just like, even if some of these guys aren't just complete busts, if they just end up like being underwhelming in the NFL, but still productive on a roster, like the Raiders didn't even have that. It was just so bad of damage control. I don't like keep harping on it because that's all I did the last couple of years on this show was talk about how bad they were at drafting, which now everybody agrees with me now, apparently. So not to, it drives me nuts. The people on the Raiders Twitter people who were like telling us that we didn't know anything, what we were talking about, we didn't know anything. It's like, I mean, I'm not saying I could be a GM as far as hiring a coaching staff. If you, in the first round, you let me pick the players, I would have picked better players. After that, hey, you're right. I probably wouldn't know what I was doing. I could have picked better players. So, the Sam Webb is interesting too. The minute you watch him in preseason, he just looked like, you're like, this doesn't look like an undrafted free agent. Like, where were they hiding this guy? He's Division II. I don't even remember what the school was. Division II. You're like, man, this guy's like Legion of Boom, Byron Maxwell, Brandon Brown are just those big, like lugging, like long arms, physical, kind of already had a little swagger to him. I mean, the play that was blown dead in the preseason game where he punches the ball out, keeps his feet, grabs the ball and would have gone to the house. If not for the premature whistle there. I mean, just unbelievable stuff. Now, he did get torched in coverage a few times. It did happen, and that will happen. I hope that we don't see him on the field anytime soon, unless we go like Baltimore Ravens, whole secondary's hurt, within the first couple of weeks. Then you got to do what you got to do. Corner was interesting too. They like Nate Hobbs. That's I was always wondering, what are they going to think of Nate Hobbs? Nate Hobbs had a very predefined role in Gus Bradley's secondary last year, where it was just flats, curl flats. That's your zone right there. Run fits, curl flats, run fits, right? And he was a very physical guy. So I wondered, but they probably, I think they see him as an outside corner, right? I mean, like that's how it's got to be. So you back? Good. Oh, I think your internet's out too.
Whole neighborhood.
Fuck.
Yep.
I'm surprised mine's still going, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll get it down. No, I was just while you were gone, I was talking about we were talking about Sam Webb making the team. I have he looks like a pro when you look at him, like he's big, strong, physical, fast. There are some things you could tell he doesn't know how to do against pro receivers yet, where it's just like a couple guys get the best of him just off of being savvy with their route running. But he looks great. I mean, he looks really good. But do they see Nate Hobbs as outside corner now, which is kind of crazy, right? I mean, that's got to be how it is.
I called it pretty early on. I think they're going to have Averett inside.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have Hobbs outside, which he's athletic. He can do it. That's what he played in college. So I think,
Mm-hmm.
Also, overall, they just move around. There's no set like you're going to play here every day. For example, I can't even think of their corner's name. I'm trying to think of, but he played all three positions last year. Peppers was in the box. He played deep. They have, he moved chess pieces. So I don't think it matters necessarily.
You're going to see Merrick covering slot receivers this year at times.
Exactly. I don't think the depth chart matters as much.
No, you just what I kind of like about this defense is that, yeah, you do need to be a certain kind of player to fit in the scheme. But once you're in the scheme, it's kind of like, hey, man, just go do whatever the play requires from you on this play. It's not like, oh, man, my slot corner's hurt now. Now we don't have a slot corner. It's like, well, no, we have this guy who can come.
You there?